What's up, everybody? So, Foxbody, going to the chassis dyno shop tomorrow. They're just going to do a couple of pulls on it as it is. I'll show you the engine setup now. We're trying to get a baseline reading, basically, for this little puppy. Naturally aspirated 306 GT40P heads, Lion high-rise intake. Well, I say high-rise. That's not really that high of a rise. BBK shorty headers, trick flow stage 1 cam, roller block. It's fucking, I like the cam that's in it. Oh, this seems a Bronco here. Yeah, she sounds a little happy. Freezing out. But we're getting a baseline. So then we install this, and then we're going to do another dyno run and see how much we gain from a simple intake and 150 shot of nitrous. We're just going to let it warm up a little bit before we head out to the dyno shop. So we're getting 3 pulls. Maybe we'll just see if we can throw some timing in it each time. The carburetor seems to be doing good. But obviously we're just getting a baseline test. We're not looking to go crazy. When we go back, yeah, we'll go a little crazier. And it's really hard to talk with this fucking thing. Jesus. I was just looking back at old footage. When we bought this car, it had roughly 186,328 for miles. It's obviously been through a couple of speedos, but we can assume we've put about 50,000 miles. Not really, ish. I don't fucking know. We're probably in the 260,000 miles now. Gone through 3 engines, 3 transmissions, going to go through 3 rear ends, countless 3 radiators, countless exhausts, 2 drive shafts, 6 tires. What else? 4 voltage regulators. And 2 sets of interior. And then it's gonna get all new suspension, nitrous. I mean, what a little bit of the world's most reliable hoopty. All right, so one of the things we're gonna be changing is gonna be the suspension. We're going tubular control arms and coilovers as budget friendly as we can do. And Bilstein quad shocks, because fuck you. Trying to keep the suspension under $1,100-ish, and we kind of did that. The Bilsteins put us a little over. We're probably closer to like 12 if I'm honest, but that's pretty budget friendly if I'm being honest, for tubular lower front control arms, coilovers front and rear, and rear lower tubular control arms. So we're hoping to pick up a little bit of handling. I hope the launch is going to be better at the track. I mean, right now, all bone stock suspension, and you feel every little fucking pebble in the road. It's a very vibrating car. I mean, let's just put the camera flat and flush, and you see just how much this thing moves. It's shaking a lot, and that's not me, that's just the car's vibrations. It does have new motor mounts and a trans mount, but everything else, you just feel. It really is like driving a go-kart on the road. It's clunky. It's clunky, but it's a good kind of clunky. Power. I'm hoping to up the power at least 175 horsepower, 150 shot of nitrous, and a new intake. So hopefully we'll be doing better. People are saying they've knocked off a second with the nitrous. I'm hoping with a little bit of driver mod plus nitrous, we can dip into the 11s if I'm a good boy for Christmas. But we'll see, you know. And look, that's another thing. This thing, look at how much it's shaking. Yeah. And among one of the things that we're also gonna try out, I think we're gonna change the transmission out. We're just trying to see if the other T5 we have that's gonna end up in the old man 66 Mustang is worth a damn. And if it does better than my transmission, then I'm going to keep it and give it mine. Although he might not see it that way. But we're going to try changing out the transmission, just see how the other one acts. It'll probably be fine, but you never know until you try these parts out. And what better guinea pig than this?
Buddy's getting after it.
That's so cool. Look at all the smoke coming out of there. Jesus. It's rich. It's rich. So we're headed in now to get the paperwork. The guy doing the pulls was laughing. We're back in the car. It's running rough. You know, I knew this going into it, that it's running really fat. I haven't tuned it really since I put it away. It made 212 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque. It's a start, you know, it's a start. We need to put single plane intake onto it, nitrous. I want to put a new carburetor onto it. This is a 750 that's onto it. It really should be running with a 650 with some jets. We're going to put some better spark plugs into the heads. I might even upgrade my valve springs. Probably should put some newer, thicker oil into it. Usually runs about 40 PSI, and it's dipped a little bit below it now after a couple of dyno pulls. I don't think the engine's hurt. I mean, it sounds fine, other than the fact that it's running like shit. So for an engine untuned, running crappy, 212, you know, let's just say in tuning we lost 30 horsepower. We'll go with that. So I'm thinking with a little bit more parts, a little bit of tuning, I need to find someone who knows more than me, and we'll spray it down. And I want it in the 300s with nitrous. I really do. So that's that. I'll show you the sheets when we get home, but right now we're just cruising on back. I had my temperature up to 190. It was hot. You know, this thing usually stays cruising around 160-ish. So let it cool off, check it out, and then we're gonna start throwing some parts at it, which will probably, I don't know how editing Dave is gonna do. That might be the next episode. So for now, hey, I'm good with it. I was not too thrilled when the first pull he did said 190. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? 190 horsepower. It's got the parts. It should be doing more. And then he did a 212. I'm like, for running like shit on a super cold, fucking snowy day. Now this engine was tuned for summertime driving, and it's fucking March 6th. So we're gonna take it home, put some time and effort into it. We're gonna go back to Kinetic Motor Works and hopefully do a little bit better. And by the way, shout out to Kinetic Motor Works in Hampstead. They do Subarus. All that was there were WRXs as far as the eye could see, and they took the time to work on our little jalopy here. So thank you guys. It wasn't fucking expensive. 3 dyno pulls was 150 bucks. So it's pretty good. All right, so here's our sheet. I can't remember what gear this guy, I think he was in 3rd gear for this pull. And you can see, it's definitely got the torques. 212 and 220.
I mean, for a mostly stock-ish motor, untuned, running really fucking rich. I mean, you could smell the gallons being burned when he was running this thing. I'm not furious with 212. I would prefer we're above this line, but you know, we need to throw some tune in and some parts at it. So it is what it is. And that's where you come in, my friend. Oh, there's a box on top. That's where you come in, my friend. All right, rip it into the motor, and we got the carb and the spacer off. And if you remember when we put in this HVH Super Sucker, it was about 1,000 miles ago. Well, this is what happens to your poly carb spacer after about 1,000 miles. Yeah, she's not as aerodynamic, I would say. These down here, the ports look okay, but this whole face is garbage. And taking it off, it exploded the fucking ears off of it. So, was it a nice carb spacer? Yeah, it was really expensive. It was like $140, $150 for this 3-inch spacer. And now the ears are busted off of it. Could it probably still be used? Yeah, maybe. But I mean, look at that. It's trash. That's absolutely trash. Dude, the layers are peeling apart. There's 1 layer, 2 layer. That layer is going to start peeling next. So if this was not shitty, it would be awesome. Perfect. So there goes reusing it, which I was going to have to get a new one anyways, because that's a 3-inch spacer, 5/16 nitrous plate, plus the high rise. I mean, get the old Stanley out. From the bottom to there were 6 inches plus the carb. Without the high rise and the nitrous plate on the Y end, this 3-inch spacer plus the carb from here to here was 6 inches. So I'm gonna need probably a 2-inch spacer. And I don't know if I'll go back to the 3-inch tall air cleaner or keep the 2-inch tall air cleaner. There's a lot of math here and clearancing that will be weird because I want it sticking up out of here, but I don't want it hitting the scoop. So, well, we'll see. So here's the big difference on why we're changing the intake is this spacer in between both sides of the plenum. That makes it a dual plane. You have a plane over here and a plane over here. Let me grab a spacer so I can demonstrate a little bit better. So let's just pretend this is your carburetor, right? And there's your butterflies. One side opens on one side opens in the middle, and then this whole area in between is just dead. There's nothing going there. On a single plane, there is no divider. So you put that on there, you only have your divider here for the spacer and for the nitrous plate. But underneath that is all open. So we can get here, 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 here. You get better atomization, better mixture of your fuel, and in this case, fuel, air, and nitrous. And that leads to better power on the engine dyno. Will it be a noticeable difference? Probably on the dyno, but will I feel it? I hope so. Maybe not, but that's the big difference we're going for here. And also, look at the size of these fucking runners. They're pretty big. I'm gonna get an exact measurement on this one versus the Y end, and if the Y end happens to have larger runners, we're gonna send this out to a CNC machine shop and have the runners ported a little bit larger. So we should be all right. This irritates me. It was expensive, and it lasted barely 1,000 miles. I just pulled the base gasket off the old intake. Look at how much it had blown through into
that area.
Crazy. Does not fall to the new one. Oh, it does, but not as much. Can't wait to put this on. The Victor Jr. 302. Supposedly this is the creme de la creme of the intakes for a small block Ford, but we'll see. Just a little mock-up of, we're gonna do the nitrous plate in the bottom, and then we're gonna get another super sucker, but we're gonna get a 2-inch. The 3-inch should be salvageable. I mean, it's gonna need a little cleanup, but I think I can save that. So if we do want to run the 3-inch again, but this is, I got my 2 aluminum carb spacers, and that's about 2 inches. So 5/16, 2 inches carburetor. I mean, it's tall. I wonder how high I can get it into the scoop safely. And then, Jesus Christ, I hope I don't have to go to a 1-inch tall air cleaner. That would look puny. Just for shits and giggles, let's put the gigantic air cleaner on and make it even taller. Air cleaner, 3-inch tall air filter, carburetor, 3-inch spacer, 2 inches of spacer, nitrous plate, high rise. Oh, that looks so stupid, so cool. Just to have a gigantic air filter sticking out of the hood of that thing. Oh, that's the dumbest thing ever. I wonder if that would make power. I don't know. There's probably an Engine Masters video where Freiberger and Dulcich and Steve Brule, I think they did a ton of spacer tests. So I'm gonna have to rewatch that and see what made what. That's just goofy. We're gonna move our focus over here. This is all of the suspension we need for this car. Top box, front and rear, lower control arms. Tubular, just pressed in, ball joints, bushings, and spring perches. This one got a little mangled because it was off-centered, and then I had to use a oil filter wrench to just give it that little bit. I messed up the front lower control arms. Those are a polyurethane bushing, and in the rear, that's good old rubber. That's what you really want. That's gonna make some noise and squeak, but I don't think I'll be able to hear the squeaking. So these tubular, nice and strong. They're a little bit lighter than those complete box steel control arms. And in the bottom, we have our front coilovers, our rear struts, and new springs. And we have Bilstein quad shocks in there. And over there, buried underneath all kinds of shit, out there is an 8.8 axle, which is getting sent out to my buddy Troy over at C&T Performance in Kingston. And he's going to be putting in 373 gears and making what we should have did last time right. Or if you remember last time, we tried putting 373 gears in and it didn't quite go as well, and we ended up using 327 gears. So I'm looking for a little bit more of an aggressive launch. Gearing in this case is the big name of the game because we're apparently not making big horsepower. So if we can get that gearing in there, we can dip into the 12s for sure, and the nitrous, maybe splay into the 11s. I didn't see it here. So that's the plan there. Oh, you'll get. And then of course this box right here. I can't see it really well, but those are subframe connectors. They're gonna tie. They're just mid-length. They're not full length. They're gonna tie the car together because it's a subframe vehicle. It's gonna prevent twisting of the chassis. It's gonna give me a new place to lift it from in the rear instead of the pinch rail, which I go lengthways. It's not that big a deal, but it's not ideal. That's gonna give us a little bit more stability. It'll look cool, and that'll hopefully drag on the ground before the exhaust or anything else does. I'm hoping to lower this car about 2, maybe 3 inches It does sit really high. In fact, we can, look at that. Look at that gap. We want this down to about here. You know, it'll still be able to tuck up in there, but it'll look a little lower. Make it more difficult for my mother to get in. Sorry, Mom. But, and hopefully the coilovers and control arms will make this thing handle a little bit better, make it ride a little bit better. Again, these are the cheap de la cheap that we could buy, keeping everything under $1,000 for suspension.
Balling on a budget. And if we don't run 12 seconds with this car, we're going to lose the shop.
Fox scratched my windshield. Unfucking believable. This is a show car, goddammit. I expect to not have scratches in my windshield.